You're now tuned in to By the Dipshits exclusive content. This is part 3 of a 3-part interview with O.D.B. last manager Jarred Weisfeld. Before we jump into the interview, By the Dipshits want to give a special thanks to our sponsors. What is Galaxy Wells? Galaxy is a metaphor which represents infinite space. Their goal is to dominate the infinite space in the digital publishing universe. Wells are the major corporation that possess endless amounts of content. What do? They turn content into currency in the digital space, the home of the NFTs. You want to keep your ownership and intellectual property? Then stop what you're doing and go to galaxywells.com. Now I'm back to By the Dipshits.
Now the estate is like all messed up. So who knows what's going on? I haven't been a part of it, and since he passed away, the day he passed away, me and his mother, I mean, we tried to, we sued the estate because we knew what was going to happen, and what we were afraid of happened. Like his kids got cut out. He's got 4 kids that like haven't received a cent from that estate ever. That's a problem.
Right.
And we tried to rectify that problem. Like I threw a lot of money at that problem in court, like a lot of money, but the judge just like refused to do anything. I mean, the lawyer that Cherry and I had was actually, believe it or not, Dirty's family court attorney, who actually I interned with at when I interned at Rudolph and Beer. He was actually there. He was one of their lawyers. And I didn't meet him again until he was Dirty's like family attorney, right? For family court. And so he was representing us, and I said to him, like straight up, I was like, I don't care about me and Cherry. I was like, but we got to figure out what to do with these kids. Like they can't get screwed.
Right.
And I was like, we got to figure it out. And, when the judge just like refused to do anything. Like I've been a part of a ton of deals in my life. I'm not sure if this judge was corrupt or was just like the dumbest person on the planet. Right? I saw a calm lawyer that never lost his cool almost get put in contempt of court.
Damn.
By having a conversation with it, because we had like documented proof that money was being stolen, like documented proof, like bank records. And the judge kept saying, these are just allegations. And my lawyer was like, what are you talking about allegations? Like these are bank records, like like money, like bank records. They're not allegations. Like, here you go. And she's like, what are you saying? And I remember the attorney saying, Your Honor, just so I'm clear and I understand, like, what gets you kicked out of, being an executor of an estate? Because like, if stealing isn't like one of them, is it like, does murder do it? Like if somebody murders somebody, like, will you then say, hey, you can't be an executor of an estate? Like stealing's not good enough. Like what would change your mind? And the judge was like, I'm going to put you in contempt of court. He's like, no, seriously, I just want to know the answer. And and that was a thing. And then, how they go in the back and they speak to the clerks and whatnot, right? And I whispered in my attorney's ear, I was like, somebody's got to tell this judge, like, I'm going to sue her, right? Because these kids, like, money is getting stolen from them and she knows it and she doesn't want to do anything about it. I'm like, that's just wrong. And so my lawyer said, like, my client has been doing some research and he's seen like there's been a similar case like this before, and the judge was sued and the client won, right? Like he's like, I'm not one. He's like, I don't want to sue a judge. He's like, but I bet you he'll find somebody that will. And then it just kept going back and forth, and like I'd sit down at like I went to like a deposition one time, not for me, somebody else was being deposed, right? And the
Right.
estate's attorneys were all there. There was like 6 of them. It was me and mine and Cherry's attorney. And I'm sitting there and, you know, and they bring this guy in and he's being deposed. And the guy says, yeah, you know, I had a deal worked out with the executor of the estate that, you know, they would send, you know, if I got 100,000, I'd kick them back like 25, something like that. Right. Like
Right.
I get 100, I'd give her like 25. Right. And so afterwards, like the lawyers are all sitting there and I'm sitting there and this guy leaves, right? And they're all like going, oh man, we got him to admit he got $100,000. And I'm just sitting there and I just start hysterical laughing, right? And they go, what's so funny? I go, you guys are laughing that he said that he got $100,000 and you guys think you just won, huh? And they're like, yeah. I go, what about the 25,000 he admitted to kicking back to your fucking client?
Ooh, wow.
And they were like, what? I was like, well, if you think he got the 100 and he says he gave her 25, right? Like, is he lying? Like only once? Or like, is he lying twice? Right? Because you guys are all happy that he got the 100, but nobody talks about the 25 he says he gave her. And they all look at me and I'm like, yeah, I was like, and then I look at my attorney, I'm like, am I like missing something here? Or is like everybody in this room just stupid? And my attorney inside the room was like, everybody's stupid. I was like, okay, we can leave now. And we got up and we left. I was like, this is like, I mean, his kids are grown now. Like they're all above 18. None of them have ever seen a cent. It's literally
crazy.
like the saddest thing I've ever seen. I know,
Wow.
like, yeah, it's the saddest thing I've ever seen, and it's kind of like there's nothing you could do. I mean, you know, like nobody's seen a cent off of his earnings, right? So when you see, and it's not quite clear that they even have permission to like enter into these contracts, because I don't think this judge has ever ruled, right? You have a bonding company that wants out. The original bonding company wants out because she got caught stealing money. Right. And then you got, I mean, the whole thing is very, very strange to me. And at one point they asked me if I would come on to manage the estate in the very beginning. And they had told me what they wanted to do. And remember, at this point, I'm about 25 years old.
Right.
My father has instilled values in me. You all have seen the way in which I act on television, that I do the right things. Right. So the guy is telling me his plan, and we're in a Starbucks. So the guy's telling me his plan, and I look at him, and I said, you know, my father taught me 2 things in life. He's like, well, what's that? I was like, number 1 is you always do what's right by people. And they go, okay, what's number 2? I said, you never fuck with Uncle Sam. And they said, what? I was like, what you just asked me to do is fucking with Uncle Sam. I was like, you're asking me to essentially launder money. So we're at a Starbucks right now, so I'm not going to get too angry, but go fuck yourself and have a nice day. And we walked out. I literally told the guy to go fuck himself and have a nice day, because he was trying to get me, like, he was literally trying to get me thrown in jail, right? He was literally saying, well, you know, the estate owes this amount of money, so how about the money comes to you and then you pay the estate? I was like, yeah, that's not going to happen.
Wow.
I was like, no way. That's your problem, not mine. Not going to do it. I was like, I'll give you all the records I have, like, and you guys could go do it amongst yourselves. But there's no way. So she's gone through, and I'm not exaggerating here, 7 or 8 attorneys. And when you look at the attorneys, when they withdraw from the case, right? Because you have to like withdraw from a case. And usually it's just like, I'm withdrawing because like the client and I don't get along, or we have like difference of opinions, or the client wanted to hire a new lawyer. That's usually what you do, right? The attorneys in here were putting in here, she was asking us to do illegal things and we wouldn't do it. The judge still wouldn't do anything. Her own attorneys were saying that she was breaking the law. Judge still wouldn't do anything. So now you have 4 kids who has a father that has left a legacy, and they're entitled to money, right? That's their father's money. Like his father always wanted all of his kids to be taken care of. But now, like, there's only 3 that are being taken care of. And the rest of them, the 4, like, it's like they don't even exist. And trust me, he loved all of his children. It's kind of like, it is, I mean, I don't know if you remember this, but after like he passed away, like his widow went on television and was like, yo, he only had 3 kids. And then I went on television. I was like, no, he had 7, which is the truth. He had 7 children, and all 7 of those kids should be treated exactly equal.
Yeah,
exactly equally.
Absolutely.
And, you know, and that was my opinion. That was his mother's opinion. Obviously, that was not his widow's opinion. Now, Dirty and I were like extremely close, like brothers. I met his widow like 3 times.
The same one who actually made that statement.
Yep. I met her 3 times. Once was at family court. Once was at family court. Once was at his funeral. I might have only met her twice.
Right.
Oh no, and then once was at like an estate, like when I handed over documents to the estate. So 3 times I met her. And not in like, wasn't like 3 like good instances to meet somebody, like, hey, I'm having a party, let's come over, and like none of that. Like court, funeral, lawyer's office. Those are the 3 times I met her. So wow. You know, it's just the truth. So I mean, and you know, and like Dirty was never like, he paid too much child support to her. I mean, like too much. And then I've never said this either before. Man, I'm giving you a lot of information here. The day after, 2 days after he died, 2 days after he died, his widow was in court seeking upward modification of child support from somebody that is dead.
By the Dipshits, premium content streaming everywhere.